Liberal Democrat spokesman Marina Wilson.
Thank you, Sir Alec, and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship today. Could I start by thanking the over 104,000 people who signed this petition, including 65 in my own constituency of Twickenham, and primarily the reason why we are debating this important issue. And I pay tribute as well to the Honourable Member for Burton and Atoxeter. It was hard to disagree with a single word of his speech. But in particular, Sir Alec, I want to thank and pay tribute to 16-year-old Lucas for his hashtag No Student Left Behind campaign, which has included putting forward this petition and gathering such a large number of signatures that here we are debating it in Parliament. It's an incredible campaign, and it's just brilliant and brave of him to be leading the way in the way that he has. I was shocked to learn of his case when I read about it, where as a wheelchair user he was left upstairs on his own when a fire broke out at his school. And although this was a small fire where thankfully no one was hurt, Lucas described feeling petrified and even considered getting out of his chair to crawl down the stairs due to the lack of an evacuation chair. No person should ever have to feel like this, and his passion to ensure that no disabled child or staff member has to endure the fear and indignity he had to go through is truly commendable. And I was very moved by his powerful poem that the Honourable Member for Burton and Atoxeter read out. I'll be able to say his constituency name by the end of this debate, I hope. Lucas is not alone, Sir Alec. According to Disabled Students UK, over 1 in 5 students with physical or sensory needs do not feel confident that they would be able to exit on-campus buildings in case of emergency. This is unacceptable. Disabled people must be sure that, like all other pupils, they will be quickly and safely evacuated from schools during fires or in any other emergency. And while there were no fire-related fatalities in schools in the 2024-25 financial year, we cannot continue to hope for the best and run the risk of somebody losing their life due to a lack of accommodation for disabled people's needs. Evacuation chairs are vitally important in meeting these needs. Not only do they provide a safe and effective means of escape for individuals with mobility impairments, but they also ensure that everyone has equal access to emergency evacuation procedures. In the case of a fire or other emergency, individuals with disabilities should not be left behind or unable to evacuate due to a lack of proper equipment. But as the government's response to this petition acknowledges, not all disabled people feel comfortable using these chairs, and it is not always possible for wheelchair users to transfer into an evacuation chair or to maintain a sitting position once seated in one. Evacuation chairs are incredibly important, but they are not an automatic solution to the escape requirements of all wheelchair users. However, it's essential they are readily available, well maintained, and that staff are trained in their proper use to guarantee a smooth and efficient evacuation process when the person's personal emergency evacuation plan requires an evacuation chair. It should also be checked that the evacuation chair is suitable for the person who will be using it due to the different types of chair that are available. Now, as has already been set out, when looking at the current legal framework surrounding this issue, we do find room for improvement. The Fire Safety Order 2005, which applies to schools, does not mandate that evacuation plans for schools must include PEEPs. This is in contrast to the Fire Safety Residential Evacuation Plans Regulations 2025 being rightly brought in, which will mandate PEEPs for relevant persons in specific residential buildings in England from April 2026, following the recommendations of the Grenfell Tower inquiry, as has already been set out. So we certainly on the Liberal Democrat benches are calling on the government to go further and widen mandatory PEEPs beyond residential buildings to include schools. We believe that these PEEPs should be mandatory for students and school staff with a disability who might require evacuation assistance, and that these should be developed in genuine partnership to ensure their needs and preferences are fully understood and acted upon. To ensure that disabled children and staff feel safe and secure at school, this change to the regulations is common sense and clearly implementable given the government's identical changes to fire safety regulations in residential buildings. Whether with an evacuation chair or via another method, this change to the regulations will ensure that every disabled person can safely evacuate schools during a fire or other emergency. It's vital that no disabled person is left behind during a fire or other emergency which could put their life in danger. If we are truly committed to equality of opportunities for everyone, especially for children and young people, we must ensure that every person is free from fear. And we owe it to Lucas and many others like him. Thank you.